right, good evening, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and call the Sherwood City Council January 20th, 2026 regular meeting into order. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, everybody. Sylvia, roll call.
Mayor Rosner?
Here.
Council President Young?
Here.
Councilor Browse?
Here.
Councilor Mays?
Here.
Councilor Stankey?
Here.
Councilor Scott?
Here.
Councilor Giles?
Here.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Sylvia. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the agenda say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Council. On the consent agenda tonight, we have 4 items. Item A is approval of the January 6, 2026 City Council meeting minutes. Resolution 2026-004, initiating action to transfer jurisdiction of Southwest Baylor Way, a county road within the city limits, to the city of Sherwood and establishing an effective date. And item C, resolution 2026-005, initiating action to transfer jurisdiction of Southwest Hayde Road, a county road within the city limits of the city of Sherwood, and establishing an effective date. And last but not least, resolution 2026-006, authorizing the city manager to amend the employee handbook to add city-provided food and beverages as official compensation. Thank you, OGEC.
I move consent.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Council. Next is citizens' comments.
Oh,
You have a question?
I was just going to point out that last item on consent agenda was put together by our law clerk, Keegan. So thank you for all that hard work.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Okay. Citizen comments. Do we have anything,
I have
Sylvia?
none, Mayor.
Let me check and see if we have anybody in the waiting room. Oops. And we do not, so we will go ahead and move on to public hearings. We have one public hearing tonight, ordinance 2026-001, amending the chapter 15.04 of the Sherwood Municipal Code to reflect the current Oregon Building Code. Fairly routine item. Sylvia, you want to read us in?
Yep. The Sherwood City Council will hold a public hearing this evening to receive testimony on ordinance 2021-001, amending chapter 15.04 of the Sherwood Municipal Code to reflect the current Oregon Building Code. The public hearing this evening will be conducted as follows. Staff will present a staff report. Questions, if any, by the City Council for staff. We will then receive written testimony. We will then open the public hearing for testimony, and the time will be limited to 4 minutes per person. Any interested person may present testimony. We will then close the public hearing. No other comments will be heard from the public. Final comments by staff. Questions of staff, if any, by the council, followed by council discussion. This is the first hearing before the City Council on this item. Generally, the council will hold 2 hearings prior to making a decision. A second hearing on this item is currently scheduled for the February 3rd meeting. However, in accordance with the city charter, the council reserves the right to make a decision at the close of this hearing by unanimous vote of all sitting council members. If you wish to speak, please fill out a request to speak form and submit it to the city recorder prior to the time the public hearing is open. The mayor will recognize people who wish to speak, and any comments must be addressed through the mayor. When you come forward, please state your name and place of residence for the record, as this hearing will be recorded.
Thank you, Sylvia. And go ahead and turn it over to Jared for a staff report.
That one actually is red when it's on.
There you go.
Good evening, Jared Bradbury, the building official. What we're doing is automatic code updates. Instead of placing a specific year for the code, we're just go with what the state automatically updates to. And the language of our code, it shows specific ORSs, and instead of specifically stating 2019, we'll just automatically update and adopt the state code. And then the second portion of it is the state sometimes removes items from their state's purview, but allows the local jurisdiction to adopt those in their code. And so we want to do it like references, retaining walls, fences, things for the safety of your property, your home, your person, and stuff like that. So that's what we want to do, is just automatically adopt what the state says we can and go from there. And then, as they said, staff recommendation, hold a hearing, propose code update, accept public testimony, and then the second reading messed up and put February 4th instead of the 3rd. That's it.
Great, thank you,
Any
Jared.
questions?
Any questions? Go ahead.
Yeah, I do have a question. As far as like looking at the documentation, then when there's a year there, if that's the updated one or not, what will be the verification if that's removed?
Yeah, so you would have to then go to the so we reference the ORS, a specific section that the state references the year. So you'd have to find the ORS and look at what year the state is on.
Okay.
Is there, with things being automatically accepted in or dropped, is there a chance that something could be added in that we would not otherwise want in our code that we've now had added in because it's kind of automatically in there and we didn't specifically add it? Or is it all pretty benign, like correction kind of stuff?
It's pretty benign correction, and
Okay.
for the most part, the building department doesn't. We don't get to pick and choose except for the items that the state removes. Those are the items that we can choose to bring into our local adoption. But everything that is in the building code has to be followed. So we don't.
Okay.
Even if we don't like it, we still have to enforce it.
So we're required to follow the state building codes, and on top of that, we can have some of our own code
Correct.
if it doesn't
Yes, ma'am.
go against their code.
And for those listening, building code is like safety stuff. It's like you have to have hurricane ties and
Yep.
certain size studs and engineered beams and
Yep.
things to keep our homes and structures safe. It's not design standards, land use, or any of those types of things.
No, yeah, we don't. Like I say, I don't look at the quality of the work. I just ensure that it is, the minimum standard, so that the state requires.
Yeah, but there are some things that, like my understanding that maybe not this update, the last update, all new construction homes must be pre-wired for solar.
Correct.
Is a kind of a new thing.
Yep. Yeah.
Relatively new thing.
And that's just because the climate is moving towards that, where everybody has solar or EV charging, so they pre-wire it and they put it in there. You don't have to use it, but if you want to, and that way you don't have to do any extra work to your home to add it. You just run the wires and you're good.
I think that was an example where our governor did that by executive order, if I remember right, on that one.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But that's also something where, it's $1,000 to add after the fact, and it's $25 at time of construction. So, yeah.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
It's actually a good thing.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions?
This one is I normally am one that does 2 hearings, but this is such a benign thing that I would be open to approving this tonight. We have not something we have an option on, not something we can say no to, not something we can say, change this, Jared, change that, Jared. They don't have that choice.
Wow.
I know, it's rare.
I personally would rather keep to our 2 hearing rule.
Okay.
Yeah.
It has to
I
be
just-
all or none, so.
You never know, someone might find something in there that we missed, gives public time to take a look at it.
All right, we'll see you back February 3rd.
Great.
So,
Thank you.
all right, but we're
Yeah,
not to that point
yeah.
anyways. So at this point, I'll open up the public hearing. This chance for anyone to weigh in on these new design codes or building codes. And once again, I don't see anybody online. And did we have anyone sign up? All right, I'll close the public hearing. Do we have any additional questions?
Nope.
And so with that, we'll be back in 2 weeks.
Fantastic. Thank you.
All right, thanks,
Jared.
Jared. All right, so moving right along, we'll go to city manager's report.
Evening, Mayor and Council. I only have one thing. I just want to remind you that we have a goal setting from 9 to 1 this Saturday at the police department. They have an event going on in this room, so we're going to be.
At the police department, get that in our brain.
Yeah,
Oh,
police
yeah.
department.
Thank
So
you for reminding me of
they have
that.
something going on in this room. I think it was something to do with the library in 20 years. So
That's right.
sorry,
Sure
Dan.
is.
I
No,
didn't mean
it's
to,
fine.
but I believe that's what it was. So, any questions for myself or the department heads that are here tonight?
Any questions for Craig? Getting off easy tonight, Craig.
I like it.
Plenty of time for questions on Saturday.
All right. Dan, you want to go first tonight? No?
What's
Okay.
going on in this room on Saturday, Dan?
They're having a character party here. Celebrate the 20th anniversary of this building. Character party. Yeah, you weren't sitting here last week. You were on the line. And it's Dragons Love Tacos is the theme. And one of the books is about celebrations, birthday celebrations. So it's kind of tying that in.
What are
So
you
there'll
dressing
be
up as?
a dragon here. Well, I'm going to be at the goal setting, unfortunately.
So you
So
can dress up and come to goal setting.
it's true.
An option.
I might do that. We'll have to see on Saturday.
Please do.
The Traffic Safety Board is meeting on Thursday. The Library Board is meeting tomorrow, so I don't have any new updates for that. The Sherwood School District met last Monday, and they were talking about state testing relative to Sherwood scores. We are above the average, but still below what we would like to see as a school district. They are starting to do, they received a grant from the state for high dosage early intervention for both reading and math. The program has been developed by Oregon State University and the Portland Public School District. And it seems like it's science-based. They're very excited about it. The aides that are helping with that are specifically for that. They won't be able to help with recess or any other extra duties. It's specifically for this early intervention to help with improving reading scores and math scores for students. A couple of the other things that were brought up. The pre-K program that kicked off last year, it wasn't quite what they were hoping it would be. They've changed some things for this year, and the interest is already well above what it was last year. And so they're trying to figure out what schools they're going to be able to have that at. For those who don't know what that was, it essentially is a preschool option that we host in our public schools here. This year they've changed it to full tuition based, so the people who are attending will be paying the tuition instead of splitting it with the school district, so it's no cost to the school district now. And the way that they have structured the tuition, it allows 2 of the 20 students in each class to be with a scholarship, and so they're trying to have this be available for all income levels. And it was super successful. They have real teachers in the classroom. Again, this is science-based education. The kids are loving it. They get to go to the cafeterias at the schools and recess and PE. And so they're getting that school experience, but also for their age level. They just consider it play all day. But if you see the progress, what they showed at the school district meeting, it was impressive what these kids are doing. And so
Full day.
it is full day. They will have an option for half day, but they're still working out some of the details. But they just had an overwhelming increase in interest in this year, which is really great because they're really hoping to have this become a more robust program for our school district. We're already known for our schools, and this is only going to improve that. So looking forward to that. And then the other thing was the academic calendars. They just did their relook at that, and one of the moms came to speak at that. The meeting went way long, and she stayed for the whole thing to just talk about, this was one of the last agenda items, and she really appreciated the process that goes through with the administrators, the teachers, parents, to try to figure out what makes the most sense for all the different people who are attending our schools. And so you'll notice there's kind of been a hybrid change with some of the vacation days, or what we consider vacation days where kids aren't at school, to better align with parents who aren't able to take work off for these one-off days. Like with the spring break being that extra day on Monday after, they're moving that to the Friday so that it's not just an extended long. And so it's still a short week for the kids, but kind of breaking that up. And they're hoping that it will make it easier for the parents that are unable to take those extra days at the beginning of the week. So things like that. The first reading was last time. Second reading will be next time. So you can check that out. And if you have any comments, please come to the meetings. They love to have people there as well. And that's all I have.
All right.
Nice that it's a very involved process. So for someone who doesn't have kids in the school system, no, because I just, it can't be easy.
No.
If the adults in the household are both working.
Right. Yep. So they're trying to, be as intentional about it as they can.
That and plan the semesters to break before Thanksgiving break, make sure I have enough hours in before that. And the
They've
new
done that.
semester starts.
Conference schedules to
Yeah.
better align with elementary and middle school.
Mhm.
And yes. So,
Great programs. Some states have instituted universal pre-K. So who knows? Doug?
I don't have a whole lot today. Parks Board did not meet this month. They will be meeting on, would be Monday night, February 2nd, right here. So day before our next meeting, 7 p.m. So I'll be here for that. That's all I have.
I'm happy to go.
You want me to skip you?
No,
Okay.
unless you want to skip me.
No, you go.
Awesome, appreciate it, Mayor. Not a whole lot to report. The Cultural Arts Commission meeting, normally would have met yesterday, but yesterday was MLK Day, so they met today. Only in work session, so I don't have anything to report out of that. WACA 911 meeting last week was canceled because of other people on holiday or out of town on work. Some law enforcement conference last week. Was one of the distractions for that meeting, but it was okay. Things could be moved to the next meeting. Fine. The WIF meeting is next week, so nothing to report there. Nothing normally is needed to be reported out of there. And excited. I am super excited about Saturday. It can't come fast enough. Getting us together, to chat, to look at the future of our community with the council and with city staff in attendance, and Craig and the mayor leading us. I can't wait.
From 9 to 1.
Starting at 9.
Not here.
And we're going to use every minute. Every single.
I
It's so
think
valuable.
It'll go till 3.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you, Renee.
So my grandsons, Keith, if they were here, would call bluff on that. They'd say, sarcasm. Now, I can't go without this being said. What do you think about those Hoosiers?
Oh,
They were awesome.
I
I
don't
was
really.
rooting for him.
They were
Yeah, they're
awesome
pretty-
yesterday. They were not awesome a week ago.
Oh my gosh. I don't really have a lot either. I was out of town last week for work and had technical issues and couldn't attend a couple of the meetings that I was supposed to attend. However, thanks to your mother, it reminded me that tomorrow we have a board meeting at the senior center, so thank you for that. So that'll be tomorrow. I see Dave in the audience from the Chamber of Commerce. Couple of things to note there. The next Chamber breakfast is February 10th at the Senior Center. So the Senior Center will be sharing an update about the age-friendly city. And then it's not too late to plan your summer. We have 2 big events coming up. On the 15th of July is the golf tournament for the Chamber, and then August 8th is the cruise in Sherwood. So August instead of June. And I think that's it for now. I can't think of anything else.
Awesome. Thank you. Taylor.
All right. We have a planning commission meeting next Tuesday where they are going to look again at the draft for the Old Town Strategic Action Plan, which I think we've already gotten a preview of as council. But if you're a member of the public and you'd like to hear more about that, then please attend next Tuesday in this room. And I think that is all for me, except some of you may be wondering why I'm wearing a Bowling Green, Ohio Falcons sweatshirt, and that is in honor of my new daughter-in-law, who is from Bowling Green, Ohio. I went and visited and had a wedding reception there this last weekend. So congratulations to Henry and Sam.
Oh,
Henry, my son
yeah.
Henry, got married to a young woman named Samantha Lake, and we got to visit Bowling Green, Ohio. Fantastic little community to visit in January. The Midwest. A lot of biting wind. Made you really comfortable. I walked around in just this sweatshirt today thinking, oh, this is temperate weather. This is fantastic. So anyway, that's all for me.
All right, thank you. Kim?
Yep, not much either. Police Advisory Board was last week. We were presented some policy changes, which I believe will be coming forward to council here in this coming future. Also on January 29th, right here or January 28th, right here in City Hall in this community room, they are having a winter transportation open house from 4:30 to 7 p.m. So open to all the public to come see what we are talking about as far as transportation projects, safety, mobility, connectivity. Come give some input. That's all.
That's all you got? Awesome. Well, just to piggyback on that, I say this all the time, but we do really want input on our transportation plan. I say this constantly. The reason we have an amazing community today is because of planners and leaders 20 and 30 years ago that worked on these problems and talked about what our city's going to look like, where we need roads, et cetera, et cetera. So we need to continue that. So I'd love to get input from the public on our transportation plan. I've got a few items tonight. I'm going to start with the not so fun and end with the fun. We have the short session starting in Salem. It runs from, I believe, February 3rd through the first week of March, 35 business days. And the greatest hits of preemption of local control continue. So we'll be working hard down in Salem to try to curb some of those bills that we've seen some legislative concepts down there that would continue to erode our ability to plan our own future. So we'll be looking at that and seeing what we can do to stop it. TriMet has announced cuts. If you heard about that in the news, some of those cuts would eliminate a bus line here in Sherwood, the line that goes from our downtown area and our commercial areas out to Tualatin. I think that's 97. Is that right? So there's a lot of conversations going on about that. Whether you like the bus service or not, we pay a lot of TriMet taxes, and we basically are in a we're in a transit desert as far as the region goes. So myself, the mayor of Tualatin, Frank Buvanek, and several of us are having some tough conversations with TriMet about that right now. And what that means, do we say, hey, TriMet, we want out, the system if you're not going to serve us? And we're, why should we be paying taxes to TriMet for that kind of stuff? So I don't know what's going to come out of that. We're having some regional conversations on that, and we'll be bringing some stuff back to council on kind of what our options are, which at this point are not a lot, but these are conversations that need to be had. We already mentioned we're having goal setting. What else? Regionally, the Metro Mayors Consortium, which is the 24 Metro Mayors that we meet on a monthly basis to talk about challenges in the region. We lobby Salem on issues that are important to us. We started a subgroup that's going to look at the potential of setting up regional collaborative purchasing, which I'm personally very excited about because if you think about it, I'll use a public safety example. We almost all buy Axion body cameras. So why aren't we pulling our purchasing power as a region to get better pricing and save all of us money on those purchases? So we're going to look at what a region, I like to call it collaborative purchasing, what that could look like in the region. So there's, I think, 4 cities that are going to sit down and start talking about what that could look like. And then I'm moving into the fun stuff. For those of you that know the Pirates.
Saving money's fun.
It is fun.
All right.
But I have funner stuff.
Okay.
I think that's a word. well, I'm going to make it a word. We'll pass an ordinance.
Trailblazer.
That's right. For those of you that like the Pirates of Pinehurst, Bearcat Brewery is selling a special Pirates of Pinehurst beer that they made for us. All the proceeds are going to the performing arts programs at the high school. So that was pretty cool. And then I got to sit down with the Student Advisory Committee last week. That was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. We had a great conversation, great group of kids, and was really impressed with the kids. And that's all I got.
I have a question about that. Are they going to make a report of some time to us, or are they? I mean, how do we hear about what they're working on more, or what they'd like to work on, or?
Yeah, I don't think we've gotten that far since
Oh, okay.
it's new, and
Yeah.
it would sound reasonable that I'm sure they have some ideas on projects. And yeah.
Oh, okay.
yeah. Sorry, I said student youth advisory board.
Oh.
Yeah. No, I think that's
In
a
the
great
same
idea.
fashion our other boards do?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I just yeah. Oh no, I know. I've talked to them when we were handing out candy and stuff. I just wondered if there was, if they've decided, hey,
We have a
here's.
joint work session someday.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe some sort of a work session or something. But anyway.
Awesome. Anything else for the good of the order? No? Then we are adjourned.